Good evening and welcome to the 10th annual, it's scary, it's 10 years, Spirit of ABNY Awards. Before we begin, I just want to thank and acknowledge the many elected and public officials from both the city and the state who are here with us this evening. So let's please give them a round of applause. There are too many to identify everyone. But there's one person I just want to recognize and thank for being here, and that is our former mayor, David Dinkins, who is back over in the corner. And David, thank you for being here. You lift all of our spirits. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate you taking the time to be here. I want to thank all of you for your tremendous efforts, and particularly our sponsors who have supported the ABNY Foundation. And we have set a record this evening, nearly $400,000 we've raised for the ABNY Foundation, so thank you very much. We are so excited to be in this new venue at the Rainbow Room, a true New York icon and landmark, and I want to give special thanks to Rob Spire, Michelle Adams, and the entire Tishman Spire team for helping us pull this evening off. Thank you. This night is very special to me, and it's important because we come together for a brief moment, very short program, no rubber chicken dinner, and recognize some of the leaders who have made a difference in our lives and the lives of New Yorkers. Tonight's honorees inspired us, moved us, at times saved us, literally, and given us spiritual guidance and comfort when we most needed it. They have made they made us think differently, act differently, and live differently. And I think I can speak for everyone in this room when I say thank you to our honorees for their leadership and service that you've provided for New York. So I think we should give them a nice round of applause. This night is particularly special for me because every year we get to honor and celebrate a New York leader with an award named after my dad, Lou, who co-founded ABNY over 45 years ago and who is an exemplary New Yorker. Thank you. My dad truly loved this city, or as he would call it, his town, the grandson of an immigrant who escaped religious and economic persecution when they came here in 1883, entering at the Battery, the United States' first immigration depot before Ellis Island opened. Lou spent his entire life working to make New York a better place for everyone. My dad, and this year's recipient of the Lou Rudin Award, Governor Mario M. Cuomo, might as well have been cut from the same cloth. Mario also had the immigrant blood coursing through his veins. He grew up in Queens, living on top of the family's grocery store. Big Queens crowd here. As did my dad's father. He lived on top of his father's grocery store on the Lower East Side. He was a man with deep love for New York that went beyond words and beyond party affiliation. My father and Governor Cuomo were constantly driven by their commitment to New York. Just 1 week before my dad passed away, right after 9/11, Lou and Mario were on the phone with each other, developing a plan to get New York back on its feet. Their joint love for our city and state was steadfast, and their belief in the strength and resiliency of New Yorkers was never ending. Cardinal Dolan, we can be sure that they are both looking down from the Association for a Better Heaven with big smiles on their face, knowing their families are continuing the fight for all New Yorkers. So it is my true honor and pleasure to award the great Governor Mario Cuomo with the Lou Rudin's Founder Award. Accepting on behalf of the Cuomo family, I'm proud to introduce another fighter for New York City and state, a great leader, and a man I call my friend, the governor of the great state of New York, Andrew Cuomo. I'll give you the award.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much. What an evening. We have an honoree as a cardinal, we have a governor, we have 3 firemen, all we need is a rabbi, and we have the beginnings of a really bad joke, I'll tell you the truth. First to the other honorees, Your Eminence, what you have done for this city and this state in such a short period of time, you have just inhaled New York. And you have been such a positive voice and a positive spirit. Let's give His Eminence a round of applause. To the FDNY, for all they do, day in and day out, literally risking their own lives to keep us safe. Let's give them a round of applause. To Bill Rudin and ABNY, Bill is truly carrying on his father's legacy, and ABNY is doing great work, always there to advocate what's in the best interest of the state of New York and standing up for the city and the state of New York. Bill, thank you so much for what you do. The Mario Cuomo Award, accepting in his name. I'm not going to speak about Mario Cuomo because, frankly, I can't speak about Mario Cuomo. It's been over a year already, but it feels like just yesterday. And my father's loss has left such a void in me. He was everything. He was my best friend. He was my confidant. He was my mentor. It was a really special relationship that I was blessed with. And I was blessed with it for a long time. I was his campaign manager. He became governor, and I helped him. And then I became governor, and he helped me. And it was something from a different time and a different place. And you know, when you're a governor, you have to be careful because it's somewhat of an isolating position. You know, everyone you talk to, it's like a game of telephone. You say one thing to a person, they say to another person, it comes back 180 degrees from what you said. I remember once I called the person on the telephone, and the secretary said, well, you're going to have to wait. You know, he's on with the governor. I said, really? So my father was the one person I could talk to, and he's all about wisdom and principle and doing the right thing. I mean, he always cut right to the chase. And even the way he passed away, he was extraordinary. He was getting on towards the end of last year, and he was a very prideful man, my father. And end of life can bring certain indignities. And he just couldn't take the indignity. We had beautiful home health aides, but they had to help him do routine things, and he wasn't comfortable with it. And I could see in his eyes that he was basically saying, you know, it's time. And I went to him once, and I said, you know, Pop, Thanksgiving is coming. Thanksgiving's coming. And you have to be strong for Thanksgiving. Don't leave before Thanksgiving. That would be the wrong thing. My father, there's a right thing and there's a wrong thing, whatever the situation. I said, that'd be the wrong thing. So we stayed and we had him for Thanksgiving. And then after Thanksgiving, I said, you know, Pop, my birthday is in a week. I said, you can't. You, not even you would check on it. You wouldn't do that. That'd be the wrong thing. So he was there for the birthday, and then I said after the birthday, I said, well, you know, Christmas is right around the corner, and the kids, they're coming, and he was there for Christmas, and then I said after Christmas, I said, you know, 1 week, I get sworn in on my inaugural for my second term. And he looked at me like, you know, that's the line. And I said, no, I need you to help me write the speech. And he said, no, you don't. I said, no, I want to make this a special speech. I need your help. So we worked on the speech during the week. Day of the inaugural, January 1, I go by the apartment, I give him a kiss. I said, I'm going to be back tonight, and we're going to celebrate. And I went to the inauguration down at the Freedom Tower. I gave the speech. He heard it over the telephone. I get on a plane to go to Buffalo to do a second swearing in. The lieutenant governor's from Buffalo. As I'm doing the second speech, I see the trooper in the back of the room take a phone call, which he never does, and he starts to walk down the aisle. And I knew right there what it was all about. He didn't want to wait for me to come home because he didn't want me to say, there's one more thing, you know. But he was, for those of you who have met him, he was just a really, really blessed individual in so many ways. But the Founders Award is worth thinking about. The founders, Lou Rudin, Mario Cuomo, John Tishman, John Zuccotti, who we just lost. These guys were larger than life. You know, these were the guys who made New York, New York. I mean, this did not evolve. You know, this was done by man-made, woman-made buildings and structures and systems. And they faced every kind of adversity that you could face. New York City goes bankrupt in the mid-'70s. Never slowed them down. Federal government at one time came with income deductibility. They wanted to take away the ability to deduct your state and local taxes. Would have been a death sentence for New York. They couldn't get any help. They did it themselves. You know, remembering who they are and what built this city, that's the legacy. They were courage meets capacity meets chutzpah. They would not take no for an answer. And there was nothing that they couldn't do. And they did it over and over and over again. And I think it's important that we remember that. We remember the legacy that we come from. You remember the blood that's in your veins. You remember what made New York, New York, the spirit of ABNY, the spirit of New York. That's what makes us different. That's what makes this place the best place on the globe. And they embodied it. I think today often, what would they say today? If they were here, if Lou was here and Mario was here and they were looking at what's going on out there in the world and this political mess and people angry, not really angry, fearful. They think the American dream is slipping away. They're mad at government because the government failed them. The fear is being channeled to turn one against the other. What would they say? They would say, get out there and lead the way because that's what New York does. Show this country what you can do. And that's what I'm trying to do in a small way with the help of the people in this room. Don't tell me government can't work. You can end the gridlock. You can get Democrats and Republicans to sit together and really do what's in the best interest of the state. We have 6 budgets in a row, first time in over 40 years. Don't tell me you can't get taxes under control and spending under control. Everyone in this room pays lower taxes today than they did 6 years ago, except Bill Rudin, who has a surcharge, but that's different. You can do these things.
Oh, we got rid of the
No.
Cuomo.
Just now it's the Rudin tax. And build. They love to build. Why? Because you're either growing or you're dying. You're either going forward or you're going backwards. And we are building in a way we haven't built in over 50 years. New Tappan Zee Bridge, new LaGuardia Airport. Why? Because it's a disgrace that New York should have a LaGuardia Airport. And if Mario Cuomo or Lou Rudin flies into LaGuardia, they would say, I'm ashamed that this is in New York. A new Penn Station, a new Farley, a new rail track for the Long Island Railroad. Do the things you know you needed to do, but you didn't have the courage, you didn't have the optimism, you didn't have the energy to step up and do. That's how we honor their legacy. And they would say, This political division that is going on is a social cancer. When you take that political fear and you try to turn us one against the other, that's a step too far. When you try to say immigration is the problem, people with different skin colors, people from different countries, that's the problem. Now you're going at the essence of this country and this state. And they would have no tolerance for that. Because what New York stands for as the laboratory of the American experiment in democracy is we can invite people from all over the world and we will make one. And we don't judge by skin or by wealth. And we can have a society and a community that works for everyone. E pluribus unum, out of many one. And it can work for the rich, and it can work for the poor, and it can work for the middle class, and it can work for black and white and Jew and Gentile and Muslim, all of us together. Because the Statue of Liberty is in our harbor. And don't you ever dare suggest that we are anything but united as New Yorkers and Americans. That is their legacy, and that's what we remember and we honor tonight. Thank you, and God bless you.
Great, thank you. Don't forget your... Your Eminence, it's a tough act to follow, but can you come on up? Our next honoree is both a good friend of ABNY's and of our city. His Eminence, Timothy Cardinal Dolan, has been serving as New York's Archbishop since 2009 and has presided over a tremendous year for the Archdiocese. First, the Archdiocese hosted a seamless and successful visit of Pope Francis to New York this past fall. It was a moving spiritual and emotional experience for the entire city, and millions of New Yorkers were able to get a glimpse of the Holy Father as he went throughout the entire city. This visit was historic for the Catholic Church and for all New York. I, along with the governor and many others, was present at St. Patrick's when the Holy Father, accompanied by His Eminence, walked through the newly restored and majestic doors of this amazing cathedral. The joy and pride could be seen on the Cardinal's face as they walked down the aisle to the altar. Cardinal Dolan was able to showcase to the entire world that day the results of a 3-year-long restoration of St. Patrick's Cathedral. This intricate restoration, performed mostly by hand and sometimes literally with a toothbrush, returns a New York and national treasure to us and ensures that it will continue to welcome the over 6 million visitors a year that walk through those doors for decades to come. Your Eminence, thank you for all that you've done and continue to do for the Archdiocese and for New York. We are thrilled to present you with this Big Apple. Thank you.
Bill, thank you. This means an awful lot to me. Look, let's get this straight. The reason I'm so happy to accept this Spirit of a Better New York award, the reasons are simple. First of all, because Bill Rudin invited me, and I've learned in my 7 happy years as Archbishop of New York to have so much respect for Bill and his family and such admiration for his leadership in this grand city that we're proud to call our home, that whenever Bill asks, I spontaneously say, I'll be there. So, Bill, thank you. I appreciate your friendship very much. Here's a second reason, because I'm a co-recipient with a legendary and beloved New Yorker, Governor Mario Cuomo, for whom I have deep admiration, for whose wife and family I have a lot of affection, and with whose son, from whom we just heard, I'm proud to serve this state. Thirdly, because I'm a co-recipient of the honor this evening, everybody, with three heroes, and I don't use that word frivolously. Fire Commissioners Nigro and Cassano and Van Essen, who lead by word and example some of the most noble and selfless folks there are, namely the New York Fire Department. And finally, everybody, because receiving this award with gratitude and a sense of honor, this gives me the opportunity to say it again, what I've said a lot since last September. Thank you. Thank you, New York, for welcoming Pope Francis so exuberantly. You know the word he used on the plane on the way back when they asked him about the three cities, Philadelphia, Washington, and New York. He said, boy, Washington was great, and Philadelphia was so moving, but New York was straordinaria. That's an Italian. If the governor were here, he'd tell you that, like super extraordinary. You folks did that, and I'm very grateful. I only have one regret, that he wouldn't let me take up a second collection at St. Patrick's. So thank you for welcoming Pope Francis, and thank you, New York, for helping us rebuild and restore what's been called the soul of this capital of the world, St. Patrick's Cathedral. The Apple bill got us in a lot of trouble, if you read the book of Genesis, right? This apple is not an occasion of evil. This apple represents a lot of good and a lot of grace. And with the help of the fire department's hook and ladder, I'm going to take it and put it on the spire of St. Patrick's. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you very much. That's great.
Are the commissioners here?
Yes, they're here. Well, if you wait while you're here, why don't you stay? So tonight's final, I promised you this was not going to be a long evening. Tonight's final award will be presented by a special guest and a tremendous New Yorker, Grace Hightower de Niro. As an honorary battalion chief, we felt that it was only fitting that Grace be the one presenting to the New York City Fire Department and the three commissioners their award this evening. Grace, please join us up here. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Good evening. It's an honor to be here tonight with you and all these distinguished guests and honorees, and a special delight to see the results of your father's insight, inspiration, and industry. I feel he's here watching over us, proud of what he started. Thank you, Mr. Lou Rudin. Or maybe Mr. Rudin is looking down and wondering, who is that woman and how did she get here? Bill Rudin invited me, and I was honored to come and present these awards. I would never say no. When I was honored with the call to present this award to the New York City Fire Department, I responded the way the New York City Fire Department always respond, yes. When you call in a fire, they never say, sorry, this isn't a good time for me, or let me check my calendar. Okay, 2 weeks from Thursday will work. We can give you either 8 o'clock to noon or noon to 6 o'clock. No, the New York Fire Department does what it always does, what it has been doing for 150 years, and they do it right now. They define the New York Minute. The New York City Fire Department does what needs to be done. It saves the lives at the risk of their own lives. It protects property regardless of its value. It protects us. Their brave men and women respond to thousands of emergencies every day, and we are in their eternal debt. Earlier this year, Spirit of ABNY Foundation and other donors contributed to the Fire Department's foundation to make a documentary celebrating the 150-year history of the Fire Department. I am thrilled and honored to continue working on this project with my co-producer, Summers Farkas. The FDNY is a shining example of what dedication, selflessness, and talent can do to make our city a better New York. And it's now my honor to present the Spirit of ABNY Award to the New York City Fire Department in honor of its 150 years of service. Accepting the award is Commissioner Danielle Nigro, Joining him on stage are former Commissioners Sal Cassano. I believe that Tom Von Essen is not here tonight, and if you are, please forgive me. All members of the board of the FDNY Foundation, and the spirit of Nicholas Scapetta, who recently passed away. These four heroes have led These four heroes have led the FDNY through the past 2 decades, which included the tragedy of September 11, 2001. Commissioners, on behalf of the Association of a Better New York, it is my honor to present the Spirit of ABNY to the New York City Fire Department.
Thank you. That's great.
Well, it's always a pleasure to follow such amateurs as the governor and the Cardinal. Thank you, Bill, for this position in the lineup. Grace, thank you for that lovely introduction. And thank you for helping us, you and Summers, on our upcoming documentary. I know someone in your family will be quite jealous when it's produced. It will be great. And thank you, Bill, for carrying on and as your father did. Association for a Better New York, certainly Bill always makes New York better, and that's what he does. I'd like to congratulate the other honorees. I know they're very honored to be on the same program as Sal and I. I said that the wrong way, right? No, I mean that Sal and I are very honored to be on the same program as the Cardinal and the governor. That's what I meant. And, you know, Sal and I started in the department a number of years ago. On the very same day in 1969, we were both 10 years old. And here we are today. And we never could have imagined the events of 9/11, but they occurred. And after that, after we lost 343 of our members, many of our dear friends, the department needed rebuilding. We're very proud that both of us had a place in that rebuilding. And we're very proud that some of you in this room, many of you in this room, helped us through that period. Certainly the Association for a Better New York did, through our foundation, through their contributions, through everything our foundation does for fire safety education. We're very thankful. And 150-year history. We haven't been here for the entire 150 years, Sal, but quite a substantial portion, I'll say. We're very proud of that. The department is proud of it. Any award we've ever accepted, either of us, we accept on behalf of the 16,000 people that serve in the New York City Fire Department quite bravely. We saw their bravery again last night as they tried to save that church on 25th Street. So, on behalf of every member of the New York City Fire Department, I thank every one of you tonight. I thank the Association for Better New York, and we're quite proud to be awarded here tonight. The fire department deserves it. I don't know how much we deserve it, but the department deserves it. Thank you.
So as I promised, a very short program. There's food in the back. The bars are open. You can go out and look at on the terrace and look at the incredible city around us. And my father would be here. He would say, and you can never replicate this city. So thank you all for being here and for your tremendous support. We have a special guest who just wanted to say a few words, our senior senator, Chuck Schumer. Chuck.
Okay, thank you. It's great to be here. Let me first congratulate our award winners, Andrew Cuomo, in honor of his dad, and the great job that both of them have done as they care about and fight for New York. The only bad thing I can say about Cardinal Dolan, who's become a good friend, is he's a St. Louis Cardinal fan. But otherwise, he's a great New Yorker and a great leader of one of the most important institutions in New York. And of course, what more can we say about our Fire Foundation and our firefighters? They exemplify the best of New York and America. So I just wanted to say that I think every one of us here in New York can be so proud of how this city just continues to bounce back and its resilience. In 1990, there were 7 million people in New York City. Today, there are 8.5 million people. And in that interim, growing the way we did, we had 9/11, we had Sandy, and still nothing can stop this city. And today, if you're a family in Denver or Dallas or Detroit, and you have 3 kids, and you're an ambitious, talented family, whether you're poor, middle class, or rich, no matter your race, religion, creed, or color, one of those kids wants to be in New York. It's the greatest. And so we should be so proud of this city and our resilience and our ability to continue to attract the best, the brightest, the hardest working, the most aspiring from around the country and around the globe. And one of the forces that has kept that on track through all the years, from the days I got to the Assembly in 1975 when New York had its brush with bankruptcy, has been ABNY and the Rudin family. And I just want to say that they, too, exemplify the best of New York. They not only do well, but they want to do good. And that is a tribute to them and a tribute to so many other New Yorkers who come here to do well, but also know it's part of their mission to do good. So I am proud to be here tonight, and I just want to say, for this city, which I so dearly love, it's completely in my bones. I go on my bike ride Saturday afternoon to a different part of the city, and you can go, you can come to the West Side and see all the cranes building, and you can go to Pitkin Avenue and Sutter Avenue in Brownsville and East New York and see many fewer empty storefronts and much more bustle. This city is doing just great. For our great, beloved New York City, the best is yet to come. Thank you, and have a great evening, everybody.
Thank you.
And we want Scott Reckler to go back to the Port Authority.
Thank you all. That's the last speech. Thanks.